welcome to another episode of the Black Outers Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we are live on a Saturday morning, ready to do some feedback. Yes. Okay, we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. This is the show where y'all leave comments in all kinds of ways: emails, voicemails, comments on the website, votes on the polls, comments on YouTube when they don't take the episode down.
Right.
Y'all, they took down our Montgomery Sweet Tea Party episode from YouTube because it had video from when the people was beating up, when the people was fighting. Yeah. But guess where I got the video from? YouTube. So what the fuck?
I don't understand.
We can't talk about it. Y'all the ones that's letting us watch it. But Black Dynamite. Anyway.
I sell drugs to the community. What is happening here?
God damn. Well, we could. I bet if we was on the white people side, it would have been. We would have been like, oh my God, what a tragedy.
It wouldn't have flagged.
Oh my goodness, there's no need for this. They would have been like, yes, please boost these Negroes in the algorithm. We need the blacks to hear this. But yeah, we're back because we took a couple of days off, of course, because we went to see Beyonce. Mm-hmm. We got Renaissance. We do plan on giving like a full discussion about that at some point, maybe this episode. But I know tomorrow we have Chris Lambert on the show as a guest. We just booked him.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's the right place to do our whole Renaissance recap thing.
I'd rather just be me and you.
Yeah, so we may have to wait till later in the week or something. We'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. But if it's not on this episode, then it'll be somewhere else. It just really depends on time. We're strapped for time today too, because we're going to see Kev on stage. Yay! It's a big week for us, y'all. We out the house. Everybody said they were back outside.
Child, we back outside.
But y'all say y'all outside, but y'all ain't that outside.
Y'all ain't that outside.
But yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to get into. But the first thing we always get into, of course, are the people that take the time out to open up their wallets with nothing in return, for the record, other than this shout out. Our premium people, they get so much work.
Yeah, we were working even the premium people got shit, even though other people didn't.
Yeah, the premium people, we work for that money. Okay, we work harder than anybody else doing premium content for the money. That's I say that without reservation and hesitation. But there are people who just give money because they just want to support what we do, and we give them a shout out. You can be one of these people by going to theblackouters.com. Look on the right hand side. You can donate to the show, one time, recurring time. It doesn't matter to us. Everyone gets the same shout out. We love for people to hop on that. So let's give them that shout out.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlottesville, Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks of time to Black Outers.
Good afternoon, new doubloons. We got some more of this money to talk about. Alfonso M with the recurring donator, J Full, Lindsay B, Mr. Spam from the Mr. Spam podcast, Palmetto Stone Magics, David from Brooklyn, Autumn W, James C, Dr. Professor Bambi, Unbridled Love, Kevin W, girl Falcons Diva, Jason F, Ken M, Derek LW, Zach from the Living Corporate Podcast, and lastly, Lawrence C. They all came through. They all gave us money, and we appreciate every last red cent. All right, 5-star review time.
Yeah, come on through 5 stars.
We did get some.
Let's go.
Let's talk about it. Okay. Now, you know the rules here. We only read 5-star reviews, and we only read the nice ones. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about.
The rules are really simple. You don't follow the rules, we not gonna read them.
The greatest podcast of all time by Ayana BB Price, who says, I've been listening for years. Rod and Karen are the best, the absolute best. I would have to write a book on how dynamic they are, Ayana. Thank you, Ayana.
Oh, thank you, baby.
We appreciate you.
We do.
Okay. We got another one. Rod and Karen are my weekly besties. 5 stars.
Oh.
I'm a new listener. Found out about the podcast while listening to Karen Hunter on Sirius XM Urban View. Rod and Karen are the true highlight of my day as I'm hustling through my day. I can imagine myself chilling with Rod and Karen laughing all day long. Thank you for this amazing content.
Oh,
Tony G. Yoda.
Shout out to Karen Hunter. She is the best.
Yes, Karen Hunter. Definitely have a good time with her when she allows me to come on a Foolishness Friday. And
you got a thing for the Karens, don't you?
The Black Karens love me. That's a huge demographic for me. It's a very specific, targeted demographic, but it works. The last 5-star review we got was that anointed liquidator bit was so good I had to come over here and renew my 5 stars. Okay. And I forgot to mention. So remember how that last one that I read from Tony G. Yoda, remember last week I said, oh, this person left us a 3-star review. I think they meant 5. That was their updated 5-star review.
Oh,
thank you, Tony.
Baby.
That's like, thank you for being a real listener, because sometimes people will do that and then we'll say, we'll read it on the show, give them the benefit of the doubt, and then they'll never change the review. And I'm like, you got me, son of a bitch. I gave you credit and you really did.
I was like, this is too nice for it to be for it not to be 5.
I mean, if you're gonna hate us, don't give me a 3.
Yeah,
give me a 1.
Be a full-fledged hater.
Also, I love that you have to give me a 1. I see we did get a bad review here, but they had to leave 1 star. I love that. You couldn't give us 0.
You could not give us 0.
iTunes won't let you.
Right.
That anointed liquidator bit was so good I had to come over and renew my 5 stars. This is from Ring in My Head, and it says Christian Pussy Rap Game is the cat emoji. Christian Pussy Rap Game lane is wide open, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Although we do have an email that comes in later that might explain that lane is being filled. Now, look, I normally don't do this, but I do want to read this 1-star review. Okay, not to give them like props, but I just think it's funny.
Okay.
The title is "Racist?" with a question mark.
Oh shit! That was the question mark. You know what? They were probably trying to leave it before no, that's YouTube that kept taking them off. My bad.
So racist question mark. Yes. So they answered their own question.
They answered their own question.
We are racist over here. 100% anyone can hear the blatant racism. You listen to just one episode, several instances of racism, and they have a platform. Okay, ... question mark strange. I thought we didn't like racism. Well, who is we? You got a mouse in your pocket?
Who is we?
I love to racism, bro. And what's that? Unless you're a race. And okay, now I guess this. And I guess this person is bad at speaking English or something. It's what's that? Unless you're a racist, then it's okay. Got it. From F.BTC. From the United States. So thank you for your 1-star review. It honestly brought me joy. I love when it make people mad that Black people just have a platform and we unabashed and we just say what we want to say, because we don't really be doing nothing bad over here, nothing racist. But if you can't take it, fuck you. Like honestly, you can't take a little bit of us laughing at the racist shit the world puts us through. Good. I'm glad you're mad, and I do it for people like you. And your 1-star review to me is as good as a 5-star review,
right?
And I'll take it 100 times out of 100.
That means we tapped into something.
Yeah, like I'm supposed to feel mad about this. I'm sorry, but I'm not mad. Okay.
They might as well say racist. I'm asking for a friend.
And honestly, I'll let my girl who's recently risen from the dead after 3 days, my girl Lil Tay, I'll let her address this, okay?
I want to make my mama proud. You guys are not doing anything with your life. You may not see it, but I'm trying to accomplish something, and you guys are preventing me from that. All y'all haters, I'm trying to accomplish my dreams. If you don't like me, just block me. I didn't do anything to you.
As I take
that's my energy right there.
As I take another sip from my mind in my Black-owned business cup mug over here, like my coffee, just like my women, okay? Black with some sugar in it, and then maybe a little bit cream, and then sometimes pumpkin spice. You know, I like all kinds of black women. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, honey, and I drink out of my the black guy who tips cup. Yeah, you left a 1-star review, but baby, do you have LLC? Because I know we do.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, you didn't go LLC Twitter on them, Karen. Oh my goodness, what is happening over there? You know that's black capitalism. All the socialists just turned our show off. I'm sorry, everybody.
They turned the show off.
I'm sorry. That was.
I mean, you could play the music for me. I mean, I try to be humble and shit, you know, but
Karen's a loose cannon, guys. I'm sorry.
I mean,
okay, all right.
Tell you.
Let's get into the actual like comments on the episodes throughout the week. And speaking of money, let me play an instrumental here so I know where to put an ad later.
Cool.
I'm just gonna say up front, straight up, it's my bad, but I forgot to do the doing it for the Graham segment this week. I had something all planned out, but in between Beyonce and a bunch of other shit happening this week, I literally just forgot that I didn't put it up. And I was checking it today on Instagram. I was like, oh wait, I never asked the question. The question was gonna be, what are we calling the Montgomery event? But it's cool. We'll come up with something else and we'll do it next week.
No problem.
All right. The first episode was a feedback episode, 2747, sounding like our parents. 3 comments. Appia says, if you make the reality show with white people being slaves, great. I think it might be a great hit. I imagine the news reporting about it and it's getting lots of publicity. Can I come and visit you on the set? Only if you want to be a slave. I don't think you should do it. I'm gonna be honest. We're not gonna have a lot of ways to tell between the good white people and the bad white people when we enslaving them on the set. So like, it's gonna be a very dangerous time to try to walk around being a free white.
There's no litmus test.
Yeah, we don't have freedom papers and stuff. We just gonna be putting y'all all to work. So it's gonna be an entirely black production other than the white slaves. Thank you for recognizing my research skills. I have the special interest and knowledge in the field of pharmaceuticals and law. I'm a lawyer, by education, but not an attorney. I work in a pharmaceutical company, so I would always research them for fun. I have interesting views on fun. That's the least fun way to describe fun. I have interesting views on fun. That's hilarious.
I got interesting views on fun.
Interested is never good.
That's good. You have fun. I have interesting views on fun.
Dolomount says, never been to a strip club at all, though, because it sounds like my parents, we got ass and titties at home, the internet. Yeah, that is a good point. He said the internet, which I think is good, because I think the assumption would be like your wife or your partner, and then it's like, you know, what you trying to say? You know, I don't want this ass and titties at home. I need to go out to McDonald's, Club Onyx.
I gotta get that Big Mac and that big booty.
Even he says, I know this was 2 weeks ago, but I don't think anyone brought this up as white slang, but I think it's a banger. Jeez Louise. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Louise.
A good one.
That's a classic. I can't believe that one didn't come up. Let me see if we got any comments on YouTube for this episode. Sounded like our parents. Oh, we did. Bert 3163 says, when Rod said we take them out to a plantation, I saw where this was going and I almost fell off my chair laughing. If not a reality show, it could have been a Dave Chappelle skit. I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Like,
the thing with making jokes about trauma and slavery and stuff is like, I get that there's people that can't handle it and it's too, you know, I get it. I relate to it on an empathetic level, but to be honest, I'm not one of those people. And it's probably because I've read so much about it. I'm not desensitized to it. I'm just like, this is what happened.
Right.
I've processed it enough to be like, it's not a reflection on me. I didn't do any of these things.
Nope.
and it's about the evil and ridiculousness of racism and white supremacy. So to me, this show would never get made. Obviously, I find it funny. I think a sketch about it would be funny. I don't think anyone would ever green like that because people are so sensitive. It's not just the racist white people who are like, how dare you talk about slavery? There's a lot of well-meaning, well-intentioned black people who they would either like it talked about in hushed tones or not at all.
Right.
And they don't want specifics and they don't want jokes or comedy. And I know my brain just processes things differently, faster and funnier than most people. So things that people are like, I would never find funny, my brain will immediately find what's funny about it. So I don't think it would ever happen, but man, I mean, it would be funny to me, and it would take something like, not that this exists now, but it would take something like how the Chappelle Show was, where it was universally revered by so many people.
Right.
With, you know, just kind of your bougie black contingent didn't like it. You know, people always forget Oprah didn't like that shit.
Right.
You know, and I'm not even saying she's not valid for that, but there were black people who didn't fuck with Dave Chappelle because they didn't like his sketches were making fun of race and saying nigga and vulgar. And, you know, they were like, there's a lot of people that want to put comedy on rails. And when you're doing like a group project, when you're working on something with a lot of people, it's going to end up, you know, getting pulled in. I feel like your job as the comedy person is normally to push it and then other people reel it in. So all that stuff to say, I don't think we could even get a sketch, but if we could have got a sketch, it would have been during the Chappelle Show era, during the Boondocks era. You could have had some funny, what if white people was a slave shit. And a lot of people would have laughed at it because they would have felt safe in that this is a black show by black people for black people. And they would have allowed people to make fun of it and then there would have been a bunch of people mad that were on the outside looking in.
Agreed.
Another person says, I think this is a new loco Colo. I think that's how you said it. And I'm sorry if I messed your name up. Or Anulio Coco. It might be it. Colo. Anulio Colo. All right. Love you both and really glad I found your podcast. Thank you. We're glad you found it. And we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay. Come through. We love you people. Except for the star. This racist people. We don't like them. Poe. Have you ever been to a strip club with anyone from your job? Yes or no? Now I thought this is an interesting question to ask, which is because of the Lizzo thing. And most of us don't work in the entertainment industry. But I know I've gone to a strip club with a coworker before, more than once. It really was not my choice. I know it sounds funny to say, and I only mean that if it would have been my choice, we wouldn't have went to that strip club. I don't think the kind of strip club I think I would most want to go to is also the kind of strip club I'm most likely to get shot at.
Right.
So I don't think I'm ever really gonna be a strip club guy because I'm not really one to be in dangerous situations, but that's where the big booty's at.
Yeah, so, I won't twerk in that hard stumping, type of thing.
Yeah, I'm not really a walk this way. That's not my thing. But I know a lot of people. That's the mainstream of America when it comes to like what they like in their strip clubs, and that's the ones, and especially corporate America. That's the ones we ended up going to, and it was kind of like.
Yeah, this is whack and why we here.
Yeah, and it was I caught on to his shit after a while, and I would always drive at lunch because he would always make it seem like we weren't going to strip club, and then just on a whim, he'd be like, "Oh, you know what? Let's go to the men's club, man. They got 69-cent spaghetti." I'm like, "We just said we were going to get tacos." And and that's the thing when you're in a car with more than one dude. The other titties, like, because then it becomes a litmus test on how much of a man are you,
right?
So like I look like the wimp or whatever because I'm like, man, I don't know, let's just fucking get the tacos like we said, and then the other people like, shit, I'm down to see some titties, man, let's go see some titties, and then like, all right.
Yeah, I've never been. I know I lived through you, and the closest I've been is what I've seen on TV, and I'm pretty sure that's not as accurate as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm just not a strip club culture person, and that's fine. That's not a measurement of my manhood or anything. But I think it's just funny though because, and part of it's probably just because I'm an introvert and I'm not into like someone sitting on my lap and talking to me and shit. But it's interesting too because when we went to the strip club and we walked in, everybody knew my coworker, which tells you
he go there all the goddamn time.
Which tells you Right, a lot about him. It's like we walked in there, it was like, Pat, you know, it's like when you walk in, welcome to CC's. I was like, oh man, this nigga, this is trick.
They treating us like the Chinese joint up the street doing. This is a different relationship there.
He was trying to convince me to help a stripper move. I said, bro, you in way too deep. Like, what are you doing right now? Anyway.
She's not your co-worker.
My point being, people have gone to the strip club with their people from their jobs. Obviously, Karen said she's never been, so no. But 23% of the people in our audience on our website have been to the strip club with a coworker. And on Spotify, 19%.
Yeah, if I ever go, I'm never going with a fucking coworker. No, why are we here?
But it basically is 1 out of every 5. Which is pretty fucking high considering y'all motherfuckers ain't dancers. Y'all ain't singers. Y'all ain't touring with Lizzo or Madonna. These are regular fucking jobs, and people like, yo, let's go to the fucking strip club. So I think that says something about how often that is happening, and why with the Lizzo thing, I find it's the framing of the lawsuit, which it should be. The lawsuit is supposed to be framed in the most salacious way possible, but it's the framing of the lawsuit that makes it seem like it's some type of evil intent behind, hey guys, let's go to the strip club. And then you're like, the dancers are like, I felt like I had to go because if I would have said no, maybe I would have got in trouble. Now they don't have any proof that someone got in trouble for not going, but it's just in their head. And then it's like, you go to the strip club, she peer pressured me into touching someone's titty on stage, and you're like, okay, in that framing, it sounds like she fucking like had a hot poker behind you and like, do it, bitch, or you're fired. But then when you read the description, it's everybody that's with them being like, do it. And you're like, oh, she was trying to have fun. It's still a power dynamic, and it's still, I can still see why it's fucked up, but it's one of those things where this to me is more like why coworkers shouldn't even entertain shit like this. I understand it's a different type of job and people think it's not a big deal.
Right.
But then when someone does something like this, it reminds everybody it is actually still a job, regardless of how you feel about that workplace.
Agreed.
And just because you don't want it to be a workplace doesn't make it not a workplace. So that's why I made that the poll. And I think that's a pretty, that's a decent sized percentage, 1 out of every 5 people. Okay. The Q&A. If we can imagine anything, then why not imagine Trump going to jail?
Ain't that the truth?
Carrie says, I'm hoping against hope that motherfucker gets locked up. I put no on the poll, but I did go to the strip club with my classmates from a school when I was in the Navy, so technically they weren't coworkers. Yeah, and I think same thing applies there, is like, if something would have happened or someone would have claimed like I felt uncomfortable, Carrie was pressuring me he paid for me to get a lap dance and it was very uncomfortable for me, you would have been just as like, wait a minute, we were having a good time. Unbeknownst to me in this person's head, you know, I thought I was helping them have a good time. They were taking it as a bad time. And that to me is probably what happened, not the version of like, I'm gonna make you get a lap dance, you know?
Yep. And that's why, like I said, for me, I've never been. And if I do go, no coworkers, no, no type of business relationship, type of thing. Like, I'm good on that, dog.
And technically, this can happen among friends too. It's just with friends, there's no HR department,
right?
So someone could still go to the strip club with a friend, say, this literally happened to me when I was with my coworkers. They were like, "Oh man, you trying to get lap dance?" I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good." And another person was like, talking to one of the strippers, and it's lunchtime. There's no fucking body in there.
Yeah, you're not getting the top quality ones.
It's just fucking pointless to me. But so there's no one in there. The strippers are bored. The people are eating lunch, not really even spending that much money.
Right.
And so I have, of course, Chatty Cathy as my fucking coworker who wants to like talk to the strippers because he knows them. And so one stripper comes over, starts talking to him, and the way the strippers do, they like sit on your knee. And so like one stripper talks to him on his knee, and then another stripper comes over and talks to another dude who gets a lap dance because she's like, I'm gonna tell you a naughty story or something, and gives him a lap dance. And then this stripper comes over who seemed like, I don't know if she was new or what, But she sat on my knee and started talking to me, and it was almost like an episode of the podcast because I was just interviewing her. I wasn't like, I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So what's it like working here and all that type of shit? Cause it wasn't nothing to, not that she wasn't attracted. It just, that is such a weird, to me, in my brain, that's a weird, sexy environment. It's not sexy to me. It's like, it's so artificially sexy and stuff. And I know that helps with people feel safe and stuff. But my point is, I didn't ask for any of that. I would have been much happier if no one came over to me at all.
Right.
I got to eat my spaghetti and just fucking left, and we didn't come back to that place, right? It's a weird thing to get horned up at fucking lunchtime and come back to work. I don't even understand that.
Yeah.
But my point being, in my head, all that was going on. I never thought, wow, when I get back, I'm gonna tell HR about this, because to me, I'm like, I know what in my coworker's brain, he want me to have a good time.
Right.
He wasn't thinking I'm gonna do this, that, and the other. I could have gone to HR and all that shit. I'm sure I could have, would been within my rights. But to me, it would have felt like me taking him at his worst intention or trying to get him in trouble for something, when I could have said no. I could have said, well, I don't give a fuck what y'all do. I'm gonna stay in the car. I'm not going in the strip club.
Right.
Because I'm a grown ass person. And I think that's what that whole scenario reminds me of.
Yeah, and also, not all jobs, but some jobs, quote unquote, the culture, I don't know if it's a law, but a lot of cultures are like, let's do things as a collective, let's party as a collective type of thing, and they pressure people and shit like that. And that's why when that man sued about the birthday thing, people felt all types of ways. But I'm like, yeah, everybody don't want to participate and everybody don't want to do the group shit.
It's also like I said, it's people's the way they view the world. As an introverted person, I'm used to people viewing the world differently than me and knowing they intend good things.
Right.
That's the thing for me that I think we've lost in a lot of like society, especially since the advent of social media.
Yes.
To me, I'm okay compromising in some areas of my life and being like, oh, they think it's a good thing to go to this loud ass club and dance. And that's not my scene.
Right.
And one thing about me is I've developed that muscle of, I'll just say, no, I don't need to be a people pleaser. I actually don't care how you feel about me. And it better not affect my job. Like, I better not, if I say I'm not coming to the company Christmas party, that shit doesn't have anything to do with me or getting a raise or not.
Right.
And if I felt that it did, I would immediately come down to HR. But I think some of these people now with the people pleasing, of course, these being young people, and the idea of, like, to Lizzo, I'm sure it's like, this is a privilege. I'm doing something cool. I'm being a woman of the people. Y'all know my music is sexual. Y'all know I get into like sex clubs and stripping and all. Y'all know what my life is like. So when I take y'all on a trip somewhere and go, who wants to go to the strip club or who wants to hang out with me tonight? I'm assuming y'all know how I get down. It's like hanging out with Madonna in the 80s and 90s. Like, you can't be like, what the fuck? People is fucking Dennis Rodman. But I think now you can be like that. Like, back then it would have been like, we would have looked at one of their dancers ridiculous. They said, yeah, I went out to the strip club and Madonna was like encouraging me to like slap somebody on the ass. We'd be like, nigga, what? Of course she was. It's Madonna.
Right.
But we've come a long way in
Correct.
that. So maybe it'll be a good change for the positive and you'll see people get more either intentional consent, or it might be a negative change in which you see people like Lizzo, where let's say you had that party and 90% of the people, 99% of the people had a good time. Lizzo may shut that kind of shit down and it's like just me and maybe my closest friends do stuff like that.
Yep.
And nobody hangs out. And my tour is nothing but work. It's a workplace. We're going to treat you like employees.
That's what's getting returned into for her. And if
yeah,
it did, I would not blame her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which one it'll be, but I'm just saying, like, we may be due for that change, even in a workplace such as entertainment.
Right. And it makes sense. And when it comes, and I don't know if it's a generational thing, and because I've been through a lot of jobs and a lot of times, particularly here in America, it's a trick bag when it comes to working. And in America, your work is your life is your work, and that shit intertwines. And when you go into the workforce, particularly when you're younger, that's how they trick a lot of younger people. If they want your youth, so you dedicate all the hours, pulling all the overtime, working all hard and shit like that, for them to turn around and fucking fire you or cut you. They don't give a fuck about your dedication and how long you've been there and shit like that. And I've been there and I've done that. And after a while, you get a callous to that, and you go, it starts to click. Oh, this is the working environment. The relationships really don't mean anything, because at any period of time, you can come in here and pull rank and fire me. So what we gonna do, we gonna treat this like a boss employee, and not to be mean and not to be rude, but we don't have to be best friends. We could be cordial, we could be nice. If something turns into a true friendship, cool, but that is not the purpose. The purpose is you pay me to perform a task. I perform the task, I go home. I can't perform the task, I don't get paid, you don't pay me, and I'm not here. And I think that those lines have kind of been blurred, and a lot of people buy into the thing of my company needs to always be morally in agreement with me. My company, is my family and shit like that. I'm like, oh, I don't believe that. The fuck, I got a family. What my family can't do, they can't goddamn fire me. My family can't do that. Bitch, I got a family. I got friends outside of here.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me, the disconnect I had with that lawsuit. I was talking to a friend with it too about it yesterday, and it's like, the thing I keep saying is like, I'm going to chalk it up to me being Gen X. I know, I say that a lot, but I can't process it any other way, but other than this is young people shit, because to me, all that you found out is that working for Lizzo is still a job. That if you can't perform the job, it doesn't really matter any of the other stuff. If she feels your dancing isn't up to par, it doesn't matter if you had an eating disorder or not, because it's just a job. They don't care. And I think people, especially in the stan culture and the social media age, people feel like they know these people, and they feel like, but your image is one of passion and empathy and lovingness and kindness. And yes, that is true. She may have that image and that brand, but at the end of the day, if we looked on stage and saw one of her dancers out of sync, we'd be like, what the fuck is going on with Lizzo and her tour?
Right.
We're not going to say, well, maybe that dancer's going through something. No one does that. We don't say that. When Lauryn Hill shows up late, how many of us care that her chakras are in line or not? We just make fun of people for buying tickets to that shit. We don't care about these people on that level. And to me, that expectation is absurd. Like,
yes,
to even expect that there be some type of caring or whatever in that type of place, because it's not it's an illusion of a safe place. It's all that shit is just like part of the game. So I think for me, that was part of it. And then the other part is like, millennials, as much as millennials and younger people, as much as they claim they haven't, they, to me, were the most brainwashed generation of the workplace is a family, or we're a compassionate, kind place. We're going to treat you different. We care about you. And to me, it's just because of my age and what our generation went through, I'll never accept that. I will always feel like it's a job is a transactional situation, and to expect anything more than that is ridiculous. And if you get more than that, great.
Right. It's a bonus.
But I never operate under the auspices of, well, nah, they will understand that I can't do the job right now because of blah, blah, blah. The only time I feel like that is if I'm like, because I'm going to have to file for this process that is a legal process that will protect my rights. I don't feel anyone owes me anything or expect anyone to emotionally feel supportive. When people came up with that quiet quitting thing, a lot of people in our generation laughed at it because we were like, nigga, all you're doing is describing how you should have always treated your job.
Right.
When you clock out, the job is over. That's a job. You telling me like it's something special, this idea of like, and from now on, when it's 5 o'clock, I'm turning my notifications off. I'm like, why were your notifications ever on after 5?
I know that's right.
You left the job. What else is there to do?
You left the job, bitch.
So I think that's the disconnect in all this.
Right. And it's, like I said, it is a generational thing. And like you say, I'm a lot older too. And I've been at places where I've dedicated time. Honey, walked in there, they called my name and said, here's your motherfucking walking papers, and didn't give a fuck about my financial situation, my mental health, or nothing else happening in my motherfucking life. And you go through that enough times, you would actually go calluses. You be like, okay, I completely understand. I'm not gonna be nasty. I'm not gonna be mean. I'm not gonna be rude. But I know this is a motherfucking job.
Yeah, and for me, it wasn't even like having to go through that. I from day one, I treated jobs like that. I wasn't the person that you didn't need to lay me off for me to know that I'm off the clock. That's the end of the job.
Right.
You know, if I start showing up late and I'm behind on my work, I know I'm getting fired. That's always been the deal. So I don't do those things. It never was a time where I'm like, well, why didn't you come over and ask me how I felt about why I was so late? Like I would think they were crazy for doing that.
Right.
If they ask me why I'm so late, I'm expecting them to be like, because you shouldn't be. That's to be the end of it.
Right.
Anyway, back to the Q&A. That's a good question. It's about Trump going to jail. Gonna start visualizing him in his orange jumpsuit and cell with one toilet. No nice federal prison for him. He committed treason. That's serious shit. Dr. Uzo 82 says Trump going to jail should not be on the same level of imagination as white authors putting black characters in high fantasy stories. Great point. Sweet April says sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? I would love to see his orange self in prison. Reggie says, being that he's a former president, this is an unprecedented situation, and he's already being treated differently than you or I would be treated. As such, I don't see a former president going to jail. Yeah, I hear you, man. The limits of people's imagination is what they are for a reason. And when something hasn't happened before, it's hard to imagine more shit not happening, right? But the thing I would say is you've been wrong the whole time. You never thought he was going to get charged for treason or any of this. You never thought he was going to get charged in the insurrection. You never thought he was going to have fucking 74 indictments against him. So you've been wrong. Why are you still leaning on your wrongness? Because and I'm not saying Reggie specifically, but the type of people that said this have been saying this from the time Trump vacated the office. They've been like, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. And shit is happening. He lost that civil suit to E. Jean Carroll. Like he's losing, but I think his biggest superpower is the fact that people somehow will not see the obvious when it's him. Because his narcissistic worldview is like, no.
Yes, it is.
I'm above reality. And we're like, well, he said he above reality. Man, fuck him. Nobody's above it.
Right. Go to jail.
Lee says, regarding after work hangouts, I always use my kids as an excuse, even if they with their daddies. Yeah. I blame Karen sometimes, and she blames me.
I sure do. I've been like, I gotta get home to my husband.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I can imagine house arrest or jail for swamp orangutan. Not orangutan, they smart. The world will not end in these unprecedented times. I'll let Team Garland cook, let the process play out. Yeah, and like he could go to house arrest. That's fine.
I'm fine with that too.
But I don't think it's wrong for me to want some consequences.
Right.
And I'm tired of motherfuckers. Like, to me, you just as much appeasing these motherfuckers when you like, well, nothing can be done. Why? The people who are in
the law,
the people who are in the position to hold him accountable are trying to hold him accountable. I'm a root for them.
Me too.
Like, I don't understand. Like, the only thing that makes him above the law is us saying it over and over. He above the law and nothing happened to him. Why? Why can't nothing happen to him?
I tell you one thing. Y'all gonna take my motherfucking taxes anyway. My taxes gonna go up. Mayor gonna take my federal tax, state tax, whatever else I'm pumping in there and go get his ass. I want to see my taxpayers' money at motherfucking work. Go get him.
I am manifesting anything that will be legally prevent him from running again, says Magic.
That's all I want.
Majestic Purple Zebra says.
That's all I want. I just don't want him to be able to run again, like I said. And you,
I don't care about that. I want more than that. I want him to go to jail.
I would love
him not being able to run again is not enough. He should face consequences. He tried to take over the fucking country.
Yes.
We keep talking about it like I'm just scared he's gonna be president again. That's not enough. Fuck him being president. He should be in he should not be able to leave his house, or Agreed. He should be wearing a fucking ankle bracelet or something.
Agreed.
We can't just act like this nigga can go back to normal. It's not, to me, that's crazy.
Agreed. And my thing is, yes, I want him to go to jail, but my thing is, yeah, you in jail, but you can still run this fucking country. That's a problem too. That's a problem too. I agree. I want both.
I agree. I want both. But I'm just saying, people skipping past past the jail shit to be like, I just don't want him to run again. I ain't no just. He need to go to jail.
Yes, he does.
What the fuck? To me, this is what y'all saying. It's like if the mayor of Charlotte shot and killed someone in my family, and everybody kept being like, well, I just don't want him to run for mayor again. I'd be like, man, fuck y'all. He should go to jail for shooting my family member.
Yes, sir.
Why are y'all skipping past this very important, crucial step? Y'all worried about the next step. I'm talking about the first step. Go to fucking jail. Anyway.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know enough about how the election's gonna pan out to even, like, it's not till next November. I don't know how it's gonna pan out. I don't trust any of the polls. I don't trust any of the pundits. So I'm just riding on. I know who I'm voting for, and it seemed pretty simple to me, and we'll see what happens from there.
Right.
But just in general, this nigga need to go to jail. If he won the presidency somehow, he still would need to go to jail. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, for life, he is an impossible white man for a lot of people. If he's held accountable, what does that mean for their BS? Roger. Jeff says, Jeff in Japan here, I dream of that shit daily. DeSantis and Abbott. Listen. Keisha says, I imagine him under the jail and Mitch McConnell shuffling off this mortal coil with Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott under each arm. And Quee says, put that nigga under the jail with clapping emojis and shouting emojis. So it's like, put that nigga under the jail, you know. So yeah, he should go to jail.
Yes, sir.
I really don't see why. If I can imagine anything, especially at this stage, I'm gonna imagine happy things, and it make me happy to think he go to jail. Episode 2748, segment Sunday. We had 5 comments. Appia says, Neo is my age. I'm so glad I didn't become a social conservative who talks like, in my youth, things used to be the right way. When I was a child, I lived in Poland and was told that Germans are our enemies. Now I'm German. That's a pretty big change. Things change. That's life. Get over it. Also, about Jamie Foxx, I believe you that he didn't mean it in an anti-Semitic way. Thank you for the context. Just for info, for my ears that were socialized in Europe, it's a saying right out of the anti-Semitic playbook. One of the classics. One that is followed by something like they control all the banks. So I was afraid for a minute he went that way. Good, it's not true. Yeah, I think it's a cultural difference.
Yeah, it is.
White people heard it differently because white people don't often imagine how black people have to think. They just think everything is meant for white consumption, and they don't think of us as people with our own culture and our own sayings and shit that means something different than what they say. Right. So they wanted him to apologize, and also they were very fucking afraid because Kanye West and Ice Cube and some of these more popular black folks have dabbled in anti-Semitism over the last few years, and it's fucking scary. So they thought, oh God, not Jamie Foxx. We done lost another one. Jamie, apologize for this shit. And there was a reflexive trauma response. It wasn't like, to me, that's how I giving them the benefit of the doubt, because I don't believe they were sitting around waiting for Jamie Foxx to say something. They knew what he meant and then acted crazy. I think they really thought genuinely, oh no, not Jamie Foxx. He must not understand what he's saying. Jamie, you need to take this back right now, blah, blah, blah. And he did, because it's not really that important to him.
Right.
And black people were mad because we're like, we know what he meant and we can't imagine why y'all don't. So it's just two different cultures not having any understanding for each other.
Right. And also, not to get off topic, but when you was talking about black people and our language and our culture, I don't know if we'll cover this article or not, but we get like a big podcast newsletter every day, and they talked about sponsorship for black podcasts being down. They were saying because when the thing runs, it don't know our language. So we'd be like, that's the bomb. They would say the thing treats it like a real bomb. And so a lot of times they would say it's hard to find sponsors and shit. Like you said, that language barrier is like, because we quote unquote use words that mean things, but it has a different meaning. And because a lot of white folks who run this shit don't understand it, or they use AI generated shit to run through it, fucks up black podcasters' money. And we don't get as much on average because of that.
Yeah. So I think that's a huge part of it. And just cultural lack of understanding creates these barriers. And in this time when everyone's rushing to be like the victim so they can also be the bully, you got people like purposely like coming at Jamie Foxx with vitriol when it really wasn't. It didn't even need that. They could have just, you know what you don't hear people say anymore? Well, what did you mean by that? They could have just asked that. Instead, it's, God, I don't agree with any anti-Semitism. And I'm like, all right. Mandrake says, I see what Rod is saying about the motives between wanting to ban gay books and any discussion of the fact that homosexuality exists being different from wanting to keep people educated, like Karen said. Both points are right, but I think the homophobia gets used cynically by the wealthy power holders to push a narrative that education and educators are a problem. People that would otherwise support better quality education for their children can be conned into taking a position that keeps kids dumber and less likely to push back against the way things have always been done, which is what people in power want. I can see that. I think, strange bedfellows and all that. But the thing I would say is I'm not sure that it's the people in power as far as like elite, educated, wealthy people who are like, who are pushing so much of the homophobia. I mean, I think it's a lot of wealthy, elite, white, nationalist, Christian, white supremacist type people.
Mm-hmm.
That are pushing the anti-gay shit. Like, that's what I think is happening, is you're seeing people that are not your typical, like when we think of like that kind of shit, we're thinking of like, I'm thinking when we're saying like these elite people, we think, oh, these conservatives that just want lower taxes and corporate like tax breaks and money and they're stockpiling and shit. And they don't really care about gay people, but they'll use it. And I'm like, nah. A huge wing of what is the Republican Party in America are people that hate gay people.
Yes.
And they care about that so much.
That's their top priority.
Even with them making a bunch of money, even with them being Christian evangelical church people, to them, the number one thing is, I hate these gay people for real. This isn't an act where I just saw like a way to exploit the system and change the education things. There's a reason that Florida is doing the don't say gay and the stop Black history shit, but they're not really shutting down the schools. They don't want to shut down the schools. They just want you not to talk about the things that they hate. Right. And those things are people. Sean says, I mean, it sounds like the blackface woman needs MDMA therapy, the Molly therapy. And he put a link to how a dose of MDA transformed a white supremacist. I'm not clicking on it, but I feel you. Also, the LGBTQ news segment reminds me of this story, and it's a drag queen topped the iTunes Christian music chart. Okay, cool. I guess the Christians didn't know it. They didn't care. I don't. One slipped through the cracks. Like what Lil Nas X had, Old Town Road.
One slipped through the crack.
EVE says, I think the majority of people who claim to be outraged actually knew what Jamie meant, but the clout is so addictive that everyone on social media has to be angry about something. So they want to get in the take that will create the most discourse and drive clicks and views in their direction. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I mean, maybe it was that. I personally think it was a Two America situation where they didn't start understanding exactly what he meant till they got that pushback. Because that is, to be fair, the they killed Jesus thing has, for my life, and this anecdotal, I can't speak for y'all, that's been only a Black thing. I've never been around white folks who said that and they killed Jesus in the way that we say it. I've never heard it.
And when we say that, we just talking about they in the colloquial, like people.
Yeah, we're not talking about Jews. We're just saying they killed, like people killed Jesus, even though he was the greatest person ever. So imagine what they're gonna do to your ass. And I remember listening last week. It's so funny about the timing, but I was listening to Diamond Dogs behind the paywall at Keith and the Girl, and Craig said they killed Jesus, the kind of the way that Black people say it. And then Keith, trying to, I guess, being funny or whatever, going behind him was like, who is they? Craig, you got it. Who's they? And I'm like, and that was before the Jamie Foxx thing. And I said, that's the cultural difference.
Right.
Because I would never think that they meant anyone but just people killed Jesus for, even though he was the nicest fucking person ever, according to the Bible.
Right.
So what the fuck do you think they're going to do to other people that aren't perfect, quote unquote? Anyway, I'm sure there are people who did take what he said as anti-Semitic, but those are also the ones who calmed down after the explanation and apology. Some people just want to stay mad. Yeah, I think also then you start getting into technical areas where people were like, well, even though I do know what he means, what if there were people who don't know what he means and he needed to apologize anyway? And you're just like, now we're just arguing bad faith interpretations of the shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next thing, we had comments on YouTube. Let me check. One is just In Harmon, who left a heart. Thank you, In Harmon. We appreciate you. The poll: do you think Jamie Foxx was being anti-Semitic with his IG post? Yes, on purpose. Yes, by mistake, or no. Vast majority of people said no, 93%. By mistake, 5%. On purpose, 2%. And then when it comes to that same episode on Spotify for podcasters, check out the poll results. 0% think he did it on purpose. 10% think he did by mistake. 90% say no. So the vast majority of people say no, he did not. Even by mistake, he wasn't being anti-Semitic. And I agree with that. I really do think it may just be a black thing. And maybe if you're not necessarily in community with black people like that, you just will never understand. But to me, if I said that in front of 100 black people, 100 black people would be like, yeah, that's not about Jewish people.
Right.
And I don't know what else to tell people, because you either believe it or you don't. But a lot of people's association with black people is through consuming us through podcasts, social media, celebrity. And so with that shit between like Kanye, Kyrie Irving, and Ice Cube, I get why they are scared.
I do too.
Because these are very popular people, and a lot of times you see other black people defend them and their anti-Semitism.
Right.
Bring them on in spaces and act like there's not a problem with it. It's the same thing with Louis Farrakhan and stuff. Like, even progressive people that claim to be not about that shit and have zero tolerance for it, well, they tolerate it when it's the minister, because that's, to them, a black icon. They tolerate it when it's Ice Cube, and they tolerate it when it's Kanye, and they tolerate it when it's Kyrie. And so suddenly you start feeling like, wait, these motherfuckers don't have a zero tolerance policy. They kind of okay with this shit if they like you.
Right.
So I get it. And black people aren't perfect or above that. It's not, it might not be the quote unquote same, but I get if I'm on the outside looking in, I get why people feel that way.
The same.
Anyway, we had the Q&A. Nick Nougas with attitude. Inasha says, my Nougas. Carrie says, fuck them other Nougas because I'm down for my Nougas. Carla says, what's up, my Nouga? Dr. Uzo says, love my Nougas, but where's my bitches? Jane says, fuck them other Nougas because I'm down for my Nougas. And Banger says, I saw this before listening to the episode and thought, why would they spell it like that? And now that I know, I kind of want a shirt too, my Nouga. I got one on the way. I got one coming. Aaron says, my Nouga. Katie says, not gonna lie, that shit is funny. I'm very, very tempted to get a Nouga shirt. Miss Barnes says, I want this in the shirt. Magnificent Breeze says, Lester Holt was probably just ashy that day. I can't remember what that was about, but I know Lester Holt did come up. Oh, the person that was like, Lester Holt, he did whiteface. Yeah. Ken says, can a Nouga borrow a French fry? You know a Nouga can't borrow a French fry. How a Nouga gonna borrow a French fry? Come on now.
Before I met Riley, I never said Nouga. It's Nouga this, Nouga that. It's Nouga bitch this. Can a Nouga get a fry? No, a Nouga can't get a fry. I love that. I love the Boondocks. Y'all niggas want that shit to come back. Fuck no, child. The way people act now, no way.
Episode 2749, the Montgomery Sweet Tea Party. The episode that got taken down on YouTube, so no YouTube comments for this one. 4 comments. Appia says, we have also a second building on our property. Appia is fancy, you might think. It's a 10 by 10 shed under the parking space where we store wood, tires, and tools there. So if Mr. Appia and I should have problems, I could live there and meet some bugs and probably rats, just like Miss Cosner. Yeah. Stars, they're just like us.
They're just like us.
Amber says, I've listened to this recap of the Bama Brawl 3 times now. Literally obsessed. I love when you and Karen were reading the jokes and analyzing them. I love you two did that more often. Maybe you guys pick whatever the hot Twitter topic is, read the jokes, good and bad. Thank you for all that you two do. Well, the thing with that is, one, shit like this ain't happening every day on Twitter, and eventually we'll be forcing it. like I feel like the Bama Brawl is up there with Nigger Navy as far as just
Yes, when the person bigger Navy and put it in 100, they had a ball.
so like I don't know that this is even happening enough every day on Twitter without us forcing it and then getting corny. Two, I don't really like shitting on people's jokes. It's just the part of me that's not, I don't want to say joke snob, but maybe that's the best way to describe it. But the part of, you know what it is, the part of me that has had jokes rejected and had that like refining process of like, this is what we're actually going for. How do we get this?
Most people haven't been through that. Yeah.
The part of me that's like that was like, some of these are better than others, and we should give credit to the ones that are better.
Good, right.
Because to me, just saying, even as funny as it sounds, Scuba Gooden Jr., Scuba Gooden Jr. could literally have been said about any nigga to touch water of any time ever.
Like there's nothing special about the
yeah,
phrase.
it's just you said the word scuba. It's not the same. Whereas to me, somebody that said like you know, even like Aquaman is better to me because Aquaman fights people. He get out the water and he beat people up. So like that person, you did a great job. Put yourself on the back. But I don't want to turn the show into that. Because it's just going to get negative about us making fun of other people's jokes and shit.
Right.
Brooklyn Shoe Baby says, thank you so much for this episode dedicated to that brawl. I love definitely going to listen to it multiple times. The episode over the past few weeks have been stellar, whether it's the Merrick B. Grinding episode, that bullshit Wednesday, the episode with Bossy or white people slang. Just wanted to thank you for the big laughs and thoughts. Good luck with the live show. Wish I could come, but I'll be listening virtually. Yay! I'm gonna tell you real talk. The tickets in person and virtually cost the same.
Yeah, for those you that yeah.
So stop. Don't be mad you can't be. Don't feel bad you can't make it. Matter of fact, 0 people write in anymore and tell us I'm not gonna be able to make it, but we don't care. We don't care because we know you. We're assuming
that your intentions are well.
Until you said that, we were all assuming good things from everybody.
Yeah,
so no need to clarify. If you can't make, you can't make it, and it's cool.
We won't take it personally.
If you watch virtually, we love that too.
Yay!
And if you can make it, we love that too.
We do.
EVE says the only thing I didn't like about the Montgomery brawl was when Unc hit that white woman over the head with the chair. Not because I felt sorry for her ass, she deserved that shit, but because it was at that point the police had to intervene. They would have just let the ass whooping continue if not for that. And trust, those white people deserved at least 30 more minutes of ass whooping. 30 more minutes and then everybody would have went to jail. Actually, it might be lucky that he hit that person with the chair because that might have stopped them from like having to kill somebody. Because, like, at some point, police had to be like, hey, guys, we are here.
Right.
Come on now. Y'all.
Comment that. It was like, look, sir, no.
That was a lot of generational rage coming out them black folks. Who knows what was next?
Right.
The poll was, have you ever been involved in a brawl? Yes or no?
Nope. I remember we was at a Fairfield State. I was in the cafeteria. And I don't remember it was the football, basketball squad, but they was kind of far off. We was sitting there, and the person I was eating my lunch with had their back turned to him. I don't know what was happening, but they was having an argument, and next thing I know, one of them took a chair and popped somebody with a chair, and I seen it and she didn't. I looked at her and I say, time to go. I immediately got up and walked out to the cafeteria, and from what I heard, it was a brawl. I was like, yeah, I see somebody hit somebody with a chair, and that was my cue to get my black ass out of there, because when you start tossing chairs, tables about to move and the room about to start shaking, and I wasn't about to be around to see what happened after that.
Yeah, I've never been involved in a brawl, although I've been involved in a lot of fights in my life. It's just, I don't think I've ever been in a group situation. I've also never gotten jumped or participated in jumping somebody. It's just not my thing. So no, I've only, which is kind of weird to say, because as much basketball as I played, I've never even been in a thing where like our team ended up fighting the other team. I've seen that happen with other people. I've just never been on the court when it happened. And then as far as my friends, the way I pick my friends, especially the ones I go play ball with and shit, I always up front tell motherfuckers off top, listen, if you one of these motherfuckers that like to go and just fight motherfuckers because we ain't from there, we not gonna kick it together. Because I'm not trying to get like shot behind the fact that my friend's a hothead.
Right.
Because we all know the nigga that always want to fight. And y'all know who I'm talking about. It's never their fault, but somehow the motherfucker always ends up in an altercation when you take them somewhere. You go to the club, they step on his Jordans. You know, you go to the basketball court, they fouling him too hard. You know that guy. And whenever I kick it with somebody like that, I'll tell them straight up if they be like, hey, let's go do such and such together. I'm like, listen, you get in a fight and you in the right, I got your back. Whatever we got to do to get out of there, we got to do. But if you in the wrong, you on your fucking own, man. Like I'm not one of these accessory after the fact niggas. And the reason I tell you that up front, and it's always worked out for me, it normally stops them from doing some dumb shit. Right. Because if they think that I'm gonna fight with them regardless, they'll go and be wrong on purpose and be like, what, you ain't got my back? But if they think I won't fight with them, all of a sudden these niggas can see reason and compromise because they know they finna be fighting one on whatever the fuck amount of people. So I've never been in a brawl.
I've never been in a brawl, no, because I try my best to do everything I can to de-escalate and reduce it. And that's funny, I do not like to hang around rowdy people or people that I know that fight and brawl. Like I'm like, no nigga, I don't want to be around any of this because I'm gonna tell you right now, A, I can't fight. B, I'm too pretty and I'm too cute. You ain't fucking up my face and eyes and shit like that. Bitch, for what? Bitch, for why? You know what I believe? Motherfucking pressing charges. I believe in calling the cops on you. I believe in filing a police report. That's what the fuck I'm gonna do. Fuck that. Broken bones and shit and calling the police. Because the thing is, when you start a fight, you don't know where it's gonna go. No.
Right. But the results, 31% have been involved in the brawl, 69% have not. Nice. And then on Spotify, 30%, 70%. So basically the same percentage. And that kind of makes sense to me too. The other thing is it depends. Brawl has a lot of different connotations.
Yes, it does.
And so some motherfuckers are always in a group fight because they can't fight by themselves. And it's like, let me just be in the background like the end of Enter the Dragon, where at least I'm in the fight somehow. But you know, if I had to actually fight a motherfucker, I might get my ass whooped. And let me just do it this way, where if I'm getting my ass whooped, someone might help me. But yeah, it just ain't my thing.
Yeah, and also, you know, I didn't have no brothers and sisters, so I didn't really grow up in the fight family. I didn't have. Some people are raised up where their parents are like, you know, come here. Yeah. You better. I was raised. I
mean, with my brother, we've never been in a brawl before. I don't think, not that I would count, but I have beaten people up that fucked with my brother before. You know, that like as an older brother, it just was what we had to do. We also fought this kid 2-on-1 and lost because he was much older than us. But I couldn't be like, my brother got beat up and then I sat there and was like, hey, calm down. Like I have to go get beat up too. Because that's just the way it is. But that's not really a brawl in my opinion. But
right.
You know, I remember one time my brother was trying to get the ball stuck from the basketball goal at this kid Lindsay's house, and he climbed the pole to knock the ball down. And it's Lindsay's basketball goal, not anyone else's. And this kid Alan grabbed my brother's leg and pulled him off of the pole, and my brother fell to the ground. And I just saw red, and I just beat the shit out of Alan for that. Like I probably punched him in his stomach like fucking 10-15 times or some shit. It was just till the adrenaline was gone. And then he was crying and shit, and went to his house and told his mama about it, and she was talking about like she was cussing at us and all this shit. And I was like, I don't feel bad about this. She's like, I'm gonna tell your parents. I was like, I got on my bike. I said, I'm going to tell my parents. And I went to the house first and told them exactly what Alan did and what I did. And they was just like, well, don't go down there anymore. But I didn't get in no trouble for that because I'm not letting you fuck my brother up just because, like, for what? If someone's going to discipline my brother or talk to him, it'll be me. If he really need to get in trouble for it, I'll tell my parents he shouldn't have did that. But you're not going to put your fucking hands on my brother, you know? And, you know, like I said, a lot of times we talk about violence on here, I don't try to lionize it, but you know, like I've participated in my fair share of it and stuff, and I have my own views about that shit and the way I just don't think it's like a sexy, like we should be talking about fighting all the time. I don't romanticize it because any one of them times someone could have like pulled out a gun or some shit and I wouldn't even be here. So it like every time you get violent, you're taking a chance. So I think that's why I think the first thing I noticed, and I didn't even talk about this Montgomery thing on Twitter for like a day. The first thing I noticed was no guns came out. That was the first thing I noticed. Is like, okay, this could have went way worse. Then it got into like, okay, so these black people were in the right, because that was a big thing for me. I wouldn't have, if they would have just been black people beating up white people, to me, I'm not gonna, I know a lot of people, the bar is low and they would be celebrating it. I wouldn't. Like, I need you to be right.
Yeah.
And so that's why this thing really, I said, crossed into like guilt-free violence territory for me, where it's like, yeah, okay, white people was doing some fucked up shit to a black person just trying to do their job. They was gonna jump this man and turn about as fair play. No, I don't have to feel bad for them. And it's funny to me now.
Right. And also I think for me, like I said, particularly being an only child, not having any brothers and sisters and things like that, I think that plays a big factor into kind of why I am kind of the way I am. And you know, as somebody who got spankings and whippings and disciplines and shit, that shit hurt. Like I have seen stars and shit before. So I was like, you know what, bitch, no, I'm not going nowhere and being in a position where I could see goddamn stars. No, thank you.
Yeah. So I don't think I've been in anything I would consider a brawl, but you know, maybe on the outside end, people would consider it a brawl. Like if me and my brother fought some other kids, I wouldn't call it a brawl, but I don't know. Maybe people would say, yeah, you've been involved. Cause I fought a lot. I just fought a lot. And it's not like I'm great at fighting or anything. It's just in the neighborhood we was in, being a boy, you was going to fight some people and you just hope it don't go too bad. You know, we didn't live in a neighborhood where people was getting killed. We didn't really have a lot of gangs at the time.
Right.
So it was more like you just fight people because you're boys and you're roughhouse, and then you play basketball or tackle football or something. And next thing you know, somebody fight, and the next day everybody come outside, you do it again. It's really that simple.
Right. And it's also one of those things where I don't do anything to kind of invite violence, if that makes sense. Or
it wasn't about inviting violence for us. I fought because I had to.
Right.
And if it wouldn't have been that way, I would have never gotten in a fight. Because
I understand.
It just, the neighborhood we was growing up, I know a big part of it is being a boy.
Right.
You know, a big part of that is that. But I was not a belligerent kid. Like I didn't have like the anger issues and wanting to fuck people up. I still don't have that. Like, but because of the way, you know, the neighborhood was and school was, I definitely have a big part of me that's always willing to fight. I don't want to fight,
right?
But I'll never take it off the table. Violence is always on the table just in case, because that might be what you have to do to survive. And
right,
you know, and like I said, I've even playing basketball as much as I've played, I've barely gotten into fights with basketball because for the most part, just the option being there is enough for people to chill the fuck out. They'd be like, oh, this motherfucker might hit me. Okay, ball out, forget about it, you know?
Right. It is not that important. I've been in what I call quote unquote altercations, but it was it never a brawl, never and it's always been like a one-on-one type of situation. And it's always been where one particular situation, the person was a family member and they looked at me like, oh my God, what is happening here? I was in a brawl. I was just mad at them. And so they told my mama. In the other situation, I was much bigger, and child, I don't call it fighting, honey. I was doing the windmill. That was a lot younger. Like this happened like decades ago. Them like the only like real true quote unquote altercations I've been into, but never a brawl or never anything like that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I said, it's not. I've never been in a brawl. L fart. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The comment was Pike Tyson. Someone said L fart. I think they were trying to be funny with like how that's not a good pun. Sending thoughts and chairs to that guy's Crocs.
Not thoughts and chairs.
Says Carly, I really want them to change the signature drink on the Harriet 2 to the Alabama Slammer. That's good. Bud Crawfish says, Carrie, Bud Crawfish. I don't know who that's supposed to be. I'm sorry. Who is... I don't know, Carrie. That's you might be above me. Nelson says your reference to El Kabong had me laughing like a lunatic, looking crazy at work. Dog, would he hit her with that chair? That shit look like El Kabong, dog.
And you got to be of a certain age to even know who the fuck that is. They don't want to come on no more.
Like someone should have just like edited the video and put that kabong sound over it.
Kabong! Yes!
Brooke brother shark do 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 do. It's pretty good. TM3 Mac US says, I read that the folding chair was invented by a black man. Karma is beautiful. Well, it's not true, but that is funny. Ernest says, this might be a deep cut if y'all don't. Well, I shouldn't say it's not true. The person they attributed to in the meme was not the inventor of the folding chair, and it was a black man. So I just don't put anything above these lying ass niggas on Twitter, and that's why you can't use memes for history.
No, you can't. Not yeah, you can't. They Carrie said Bud Crawford the boxer.
Oh, okay. See, I'm out of the boxing game. Thank you. That's great. That's great. Sorry. That's actually really funny. Ernest says, this might be a deep cut if you don't watch enough wrestling, but I think I might get a La Parka mask for Halloween. Y'all can call me the chairman of the boardwalk. You're right, I don't watch wrestling. Ocean Fade, Ocean Gate for the incident. Ocean Fader, Darth Vader for the young brother. Go easy on me. I'm gonna go easy on you. I'll go easy on you. Pike Tyson is the page. I mean, I can't be mad at you, Adabola, because you said you knew yourself was like, this might be weak, but I got to get it out, and I respect that.
yeah. I just be trying. Y'all be like, Ryan was just tearing her stuff up. Was like, he's trying to critique me to strengthen my comedy.
Yeah. Pike Tyson is
saying shit, y'all. Y'all be encouraging my bullshit.
Pike Tyson is the patron saint of niggas, the only saint with a 200-foot tall statue in both Wakanda and Zamunda. India, Nigeria, Kenya, Brazil, and are pleading for a statue to tour coming soon, says, of course, Raphael. Magnificent Bree says, El Kabong unlocked the memory and had me crying laughing. Aaron says, Nemo gonna find these hands. Tiffany says, I vote to change the weapon of the show to the folding chair. You know, you might be right. Someone else said Terrence Bud Crawfish. So there you go. The Crocs guy was from an incident in Texas. Okay, so not the same thing. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Once again, can't trust Twitter for facts. Folding chairs better than bad puns, says James. That's true. My fave, Dorina says, my fave was Jamichael Phelps. This is what we was needed to unite Americans. I'm tired of us having to be nice to racists and consider their feelings. It's time to start catching the chair. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you, Dorina. It's so funny because like they didn't take the high road, and I think some people weren't ready for the fact that we as black people were gonna be like, yeah. Like they was wanting us to be kind of like, because normally there are some Debbie Downer ass Twitter motherfuckers that's always like, yeah, it's just black people. I feel like we shouldn't be, but you just didn't see a lot of them. Everybody was on the same, like,
everybody was different jokes.
This is a pretty easy layup. These people were bad. Let's see. Although El Kabong is the best name for folding chair man, would Stone Cold Stephen Austin, Stone Cold Stefan Austin be a good alternative? Thanks for another great show.
I remember Stone Cold.
That's pretty good. But,
yes. Now I know that wrestling reference. Now the other one, I don't know. And shout out to the 3 people that's probably cracking up over that person's reference.
Miss Barnes says, this young man gives me faith in our youth. Yeah, I was listening to the War Report, and Shalewa said she got emotional watching him swim over. And I was like, yeah, I guess that is a good, there's an emotionality to the fact that there's community and connection in blackness, and that this young person wanted to save this man and get involved in this fight,
Right.
And was like, fuck, I'm not waiting for it to die because this man might be dead by the time that happens.
And had the strength to swim that far.
Queen says, somebody called the boy Swimmy Hendrix, and I screamed. Yeah, see, that's another one. What is Jimi Hendrix don't fight people? It's just saying
famous person.
Just saying a famous black person's name and putting a swim pun in it. But sure. I'm not saying they can't be funny. I just when I rank them, they be closer to the bottom than the top. That's all I'm saying. Like, I get that. To me, that's the lowest level of the pun. Is like, just saying somebody's like, if you just said Lawrence Fishburne. I'll be like, that's not that. You just said a black person had the name Fish in their name. Why am I giving you any credit for that? Somebody called the boy swimming Hendrix. His motto gonna be "Who want the stroke?" And C Murder, of course, is the one that was. I love C Murder. That was a great one.
SEA, yes,
yeah, because it had many levels. C Murder really did murder somebody. C Murder is a rapper. CSEA. To me, that's the number one for me. All right, let's get to the next episode. And the last one for the week, Hypocrite, episode 2750. We got 3 comments. Ramsey D. Jenkins says 5 stars. I hope both of you enjoyed Beyonce concert tonight. The news out of Florida regarding how American history curriculum will be reimagined is very disappointing. Neo is entitled to his ignorant opinion, yet he caused more harm than good. Appier tunes in again to say Neo will never read about trans issues because he wants what he feels to be true and doesn't want to change his mind.
Agreed.
I'm also calling all people, mostly men, I'm against calling all people, mostly men, who had some success geniuses. I hate it. Some success comes by accident. Life is like that. When everyone is a genius, no one is. Yeah, I mostly disagree with that. I feel like the title of genius is actually a little too people feel a little too coveted, and I feel like it's coded for white people shit too. It's a lot of like white people get the benefit of being geniuses and black people get lucky, and I think we should be using the term more often. And it's not like we're using it all the time for everybody, but like I think it's weird because what ends up happening is when they dedicate somebody to be a genius outside of whiteness, normally, you then get some other person coming up that's like, but I'm also a marginalized person, so fuck you for being called a genius.
Right.
And I'm like, what does that help?
Nobody.
It's like when people were mad Donald Glover and Jordan Peele were getting called geniuses and being like, but what about Beyonce? It's like, nigga, she a genius too.
Yes, she is.
What the fuck? Rihanna's a genius. She's a marketing fucking genius. Like,
a mogul.
Why are we acting like we have to be adherent to these rules that are like only a white person can be a genius? I don't know. I think we should be less stingy with it, to be honest. And but I also feel you in that a lot of people get credit for stuff like being a genius when it's literally just, I'm a white man, they had a lot of money or something.
Yes, and that devalues the word with that. You go, well, are you really genius, or are you just taking other people's shit and benefiting off
if you just had a huge head start in life, your dad owned a fucking diamond mine, pardon me if I'm not thinking you're one of the smartest people on the earth, Same thing with the Ocean's Gate motherfucker. Like, people were giving him the credit of being a genius because he had a lot of money. And I think that kind of shit is different.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, Evie says, Iggy Azalea has proven time and time again she doesn't care about black women. She tries to mimic, and it's so sad. I'd be so embarrassed if I was her, because not only is she defending that Canadian bum she lied about not taking sides, when she clearly said in her letter she didn't believe he was guilty. She just didn't think that letter would go public, and she could gaslight people into believing her lies. She's so whack. I hope her and that loser Tory get deported. # bring shame back in 2023. Yes, so it's an update to the Iggy Azalea thing.
Okay.
That happened while we were off, off.
Mm-hmm.
So we did cover where Iggy Azalea said that she didn't really write in support of him because she would never support like an abusive person and all this shit. And what really seemed to happen is this woman, Megan Cuniff, who's been following the Tory Lanez trial the whole time and been going to the courtroom and giving reports.
Okay.
She's very good. She's very thorough. She's a lawyer. She actually goes and gets the research and provides evidence.
Right.
So anytime somebody says some shit like that's provable, she'll go prove it or disprove it. And so Iggy Azalea came out and said that, hey, I didn't write this letter about trying to help him, blah, blah, blah. It was just, I think we read this part. I've not been in touch with Tory for months. I have no reason to be, but I do wish him well. I don't support anyone. The whole thing is full of oddities. My letter never mentioned anything in regard to what happened that night. 3, I was told that this was for a judge only, yet it's being discussed in public. I never intended to publicly comment. Now that part is funny to me because I think Tory's people probably did lie to all these folks.
I think they did too.
They basically said, look, you can privately write this letter to the judge to support him, and don't worry, no one's going to ever know what you wrote or that you said
and that
it.
might not have been true.
Might not have been true. What do you mean? We know it's not true.
That shit is public record.
Yeah, we know it's not true. I don't put it beyond Tory's people to have lied to these celebrities or whoever the 70 people are
mostly
to get their support, and then you tried to help a scorpion cross the river and you got stung. Trying to be friends.
And they still going to jail.
Yeah, Tory's still going to jail, but now we all know, like, your ass was one of the people out here on his side, quote unquote. I'm not in support of throwing away anyone's life if we can give reasonable punishments that are rehabilitative. Instead, I support prison reform, period. 5, I was trying to write about my genuine experience and the type of punishment I think he deserves. I did. It's not really that interesting, but I understand why it's been sensationalized. See you next week, blah, blah. I really hate that this is today's discourse online because it's not really an explosive revelation. Yes, he should be held accountable. No, the charges don't warrant 5+ in prison. Most agree with that sentiment because it's a reasonable take. This is not newsworthy. But then when you go and look at her like 3-page letter, it's not this like, I wasn't supporting anybody, It's her talking about how she could not because she met with him and she speaks to Tory Lanez constantly and set up a night prayer group for his fellow inmates. He set up a night prayer group for his fellow inmates in jail. It was a lot of like
the opposite of what
you are supporting him. She said even though she's been the victim of sexism and abuse in her career, she says, in fact, it's the very reason I feel it's imperative I share my viewpoint as a woman in music in regard to Daystar Peterson. You are presiding over his case, and it would mean a great deal to me if you place, I guess, please let me share with you why Tory Lanez is far from the average entitled rap star. I've witnessed him diffuse so many sticky situations with kindness and humor. He is the last person to lose his cool. I've never encountered this jealous, rage-filled person he's accused of being. I know him to be someone who's also bursting with happiness. In the moments you want to cry, if you call Daystar, he will find a way to make you laugh. Right. So like I said, she clearly knew what she wrote in that letter and tried to downplay it, you know.
Yeah, she didn't think nobody was going to be the researcher, but like, but bitch, this is what the letter actually says.
Right. She said if he stayed in the US, she would hire him as her executive producer for her next album. She said, please consider a sentence that doesn't require deportation. Brought up him leading a prayer circle every night, empowering other people in jail. So yeah, it was very much like, well, when he around me, he not like that. Which might be her fucking experience, but don't act like you didn't write that letter, sis. We're not stupid.
Nope. And that's the thing about it. Everybody has different relationships with different people. Just because somebody treats you well, me saying that they've done these things to me does not make both things not true.
Yeah. So she's kind of an asshole for that. And she got caught lying.
Right.
I think Mario Winans, let me make sure that's his name before I say the wrong thing. Yeah, Mario, not Winans, just Mario.
Okay, I'm gonna say Mario Winans.
Yeah, my bad. I made a mistake, everybody. I misspoke. I was correcting it as we were speaking, looking it up myself so that we wouldn't have no awkward moment of me being wrong. But I was wrong. Karen, go off.
I'm not going off.
No, please go ahead. Do you think?
Nope. I'm not going off at all.
No, you were about to say something.
Mario. That's like that.
You were about to say something.
Nope.
And then you stopped. Mario from Let Me Love You.
Yes.
He wrote a letter on his behalf too.
Oh no.
Yeah. I guess he's just he's just a friend, you know.
And so.
But yeah, that's what happened there. All right.
Like you said, I can't even imagine the people he reached out to. They was like, "Fuck no, nothing on the record."
That's the list I'm more interested in than this shit,
right? Because most of them people turned that shit down.
The real list, nope. The real list is the people that said no. That's who I want to see. Buy their album twice. We got comments on this on YouTube, episode 2750, Hypocrite. In Harmon left a heart emoji. LaShonda says, that's absolutely not a black man voicing Frederick Douglass. I suspect it's AI generated. AI?
The AI.
Kizzy says, Gelton dos Santos is Cape Verdean from Cape Verde Islands by the west coast of Africa. It's a Portuguese name. So yes, you were right. He's black. Just wanted to elaborate. I'm originally Cape Verdean too. Okay. Learn something new every day.
Black history.
Where in the world? All right. We got the poll. Do you think Neo will actually read up on transitioning process for kids?
No.
One person, 2.5% said yes. 97.5% said no.
No.
And same on Spotify. Man, this is a banner week for the polls lining up on both sites.
Because he was so belligerent talking. I was like, he just said that just so people could quote unquote calm down. But when people say shit like that, it's like, no, because if this was something you wanted to do, you would have said it before you even made this statement or did this video. You have no intentions on quote unquote enlightening yourself. People can read between the lines. Your mind is made up. There's nothing anybody can say or do to make you change your mind. Okay.
I'm
about to say, and nigga, you currently on tour. Like I seen, because I do like Ticketmaster where they send you all this stuff, and I'm continually getting shit about you being on tour and shit like that. So I wonder with him going on tour, is this going to affect the ticket sales to some of the cities where they might not continually coming up.
Yeah, I agree. Slavery wasn't that bad, Frederick Douglass, according to PragerU. Jen says Prager Frederick is 100% voiced by a white man. Miss Barnes says slavery was just a minor inconvenience. That's all. Right. It was annoying.
A blip on the radar.
It was annoying. A little misunderstanding. Carly says, I've known about PragerU for a while in the spirit of fucking with black people with cars. Aaron says the Underground Railroad actually pioneered the subway systems you all have today, kids. Harry Tubman. The quote Karen, Creasy says, the quote Karen, bitch, if you don't get the fuck out of here.
Come on.
James says, if the Texas Board of Education ever approved this PragerU whitewash bullshit to our schools, I'm bringing back my black Air Force One folding chairs to the state capitol. Ernest says, your cars, number 1, burn it. Number 2, flood it. Number 3, send Aquaman. Right. You need a plague of locusts too. Raphael says, look, slavery wasn't that bad. We wouldn't have nougat with chair, swimming nougats, a diversity of nougats. Can you imagine a world without nougats? Frederick Douglass would be so proud. Nougats got skills. Good point. Good point. I didn't even think about it that way.
Points were made.
Points were made. All right. Let's get into the voicemails. We got a couple. It's like the Popeyes app knows I'm black. Every fucking Saturday, it's like, chicken? All right, we got voicemails.
Yes, please.
704-557-0186, the voicemail line. It cuts you off after 2 minutes, so don't get too worried. You're going to have to leave multiple voicemails. The first one, we got 2 from Ahmad.
Hey, Rod. Hey, Karen. This is Iman. It's been a long time. That's because I had to stop listening when I was around 7 months pregnant. I had the baby 2 months ago. So I'm slowly catching up episodes because I was crying all the time. When I was pregnant, I was so emotional all the time, even when things were supposed to be funny. So I was like, you know what? I want to enjoy this for real. So I'm just going to put this on the back burner. But I'm slowly catching up. But I knew I had to skip way ahead so I could listen to the Montgomery Sweet Tea Party episode because we live here. And so I just wanted to see what y'all's take on it is. And so far, y'all still are just getting into it and you're catching Karen up. But just to let you know, the boat is
Okay.
That is the actual boat's name. It's great for family. And really, there was a family reunion group on the boat at the time of the brawl. So, and then I was like you, Rod. I was so worried about the security guard because, like, I know him, not personally, but of course, Southern know. Like, I've been on the Harriet several times. I've seen him working, that security guard working for. He is not a young man. So when I first saw that first initial video of him getting jumped, I was so scared. It's like everyone else was like laughing about it. I didn't know what had happened after that. I just saw him getting jumped, and I was like, this is so scary. He could really get hurt. He is not a young man. And then the boy jumped in the water, and it's like, people who know him personally are like, oh my God, this is that boy, and he goes to this school. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, so I'm gonna go back and finish.
She got cut off and she left another message.
Right.
But I did want to say, come to find out, that's not even a security guard. That dude's the co-captain of the Harriet too.
Oh shit.
Right. So he had even more of a reason to be like, y'all have to move y'all boat. We are supposed to be docking here.
Right.
And supposedly they have had issues with that white family there before. So that must have been why he was ready with the hat signal.
Yeah, and I hope, it's one of the things where they banned them. Go, no, y'all cannot, because who wants to fucking deal with that? Every time you turn around, we got to deal with you being rowdy and rude and fucking fighting us? No.
Karen, it's me again. I'm back. Iman. I just let that other message ride out. I was just like, okay, it's been a long time since I called in. But anyway, I'm halfway through the episode now. Oh, darn it. Now I forgot. Oh, this mommy brain. I forgot what I was going to say.
That is
yes, the riverfront. Okay. So here in Montgomery, because I was talking to my sister about it a few days ago, and I was just like, see, what the white people didn't understand is that the riverfront, that's like Black Entertainment Central. It's like they messed around and really found out, because there's like, on the river doing the water sports and everything. Yeah, everyone, all the white people with their boats and stuff. But the riverfront, where the concerts are, where the hotels are, where the paddle boat bar thing is, and the Harriet, because they have like live music on the Harriet and it goes up and down the river. I was like, that's where all the Black people be at. It's like, that's where we be at. Like they really should just move the boat. They really should have moved the boat. But that's all I wanted to say. I might call in again if maybe I won't. Maybe I'll write an email if I have time. All right. I love you guys. It's been such a long time. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's good you back. Congratulations.
Congrats on the baby.
Yes, and mommy brain is real. A lot of women, after they have children, have gone through that, and yet they say you are very forgetful for a while until you can kind of get readjusted and stuff like that. And also, they're gonna fuck around, and the Harriet Tubman gonna be fucking sold out for months, because people gonna be like, that's the name of the boat for real? We gonna book our family reunion down there too. So apparently, wouldn't be surprised if sales like went through the roof just because of this whole thing happening. People go, well, I'm gonna go visit now. They're gonna make that shit a landmark.
Yeah, taking chairs there, taking pictures and shit, sure.
Yes, they are, in front of the boat.
Allegra left 3 voicemails.
Allegra has something to say.
Yeah. We didn't have no voicemails for like over a month, and now people leave.
Everybody making up the time.
Hi, Ron and Karen. It's Allegra. I already know that I'm going to get cut off, so I'm just going to put it up front here because I have a couple of things to say. This is in reference to episode 2748, segment Sunday. And you guys were talking about in the LGBTQ side segment about Ron DeSantis and that banning of books that are focused on LGBTQ stories and acknowledging the existence of people that are LGBTQ. And it made me think of Mr. Show with Bob and David. I feel like a long time ago, Rod, you referenced that you watched that, and I years ago religiously watched it. have recently kind of tapped a little bit back into it, but that's not the point of this story. The point of this call is there's a segment in there's like a skit where David Cross is part of the LGBTQ community, and he's being interviewed, and he is part of this program called Overcome, which the title. But anyway, and it's about him being deprogrammed, quote unquote, from being gay. But the funny part of the skit is that they keep showing him being back on the show where he slipped and lived his true self and then had to go back to the program. Mm-hmm. I hope you remember seeing this. Yes.
I remember this. Mr. Show is one of the greatest sketch comedy shows ever, because of shit like this. And yeah, that shit was so funny. Because I think they even had like clips and evidence of like his backsliding, and then they'd be back on the show dressed differently and acting like he was straight. It was so stupid, but like, this is why I like comedy to approach things, is because to me, what is actually happening at those deprogramming camps is one of the most, it's a human rights abuse thing, right? It's really that bad to me, and I'm not exaggerating. And comedy allows you to approach that in a way where you can like admit to the absurdity of it, point out the ridiculousness of it, and pick on the people that are wrong about it. You know, it's like the joke isn't on him for being gay. The joke is on this entire like idea of making someone be straight. Right.
Yep, it's me again, Allegra. So yeah, I just thought it made me think about that skit. And the reason why I'm bringing up that skit is because Mr. Show with Bob and David came out in like the late 90s. So we're talking at least 30 years, right? Ooh, 30. We're talking about something that's at least 20, 25, maybe 30 years old, which means this has been an issue for at least, and I'm really being generous here, at least that long. And gay people are still around. LGBTQ community is still around. It doesn't matter. That shit does not work. The deprogramming does not work. Banning books does not work. All of this shit is stupid. Because guess what? There's been LGBTQ people since there's been people. Right. So like, this delusion that you're going to ban a book because you don't want your kids to be indoctrinated, quote unquote, the gay agenda, whatever the fuck that is a farce. It is denial, it is delusional, and it's stupid. That skit is hilarious though, but the whole idea is stupid and delusional. And it just speaks to how parents have, as a parent, it speaks to how parents have this sort of sense that when they birth a child, they have rights to however that child is supposed to turn out in their mind. Right. And it's dumb. All you did was make a decision to have a child. You are not in control of their life. Yes, you raise them up to a certain point so that they can care for themselves, but they are human beings. Right. And they're going to make the decision.
Last one.
I promise this is the last message. So yeah, I'm just basically ranting about how people are stupid, Ron DeSantis is dumb, and this is all just some bullshit that's been going on for a long time. And you would think at some point people would get the hint, but as long as we keep perpetuating this idea that LGBTQ is unnatural and ungodly and blah-de-blah-de-blah, I guess we'll just be fighting this fight for the rest of our lives. And that's depressing, but it feels like it's true. Anyway, the LGBTQ music that you guys have in the header is a bop. I often rewind it and dance to it. And I'm always excited, also sad when we get to the LGBTQ segment. But anyway, love you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.
That song is a bop.
Yeah, that's why we put it up front. We want you to party up front.
Let me see what you want to be. You better move your body. You better move your feet. Yeah, I love that song. And before that, when we used to do the "Do You Want a Funk?"
Yes.
You know, like there's something I want to ask you. Like
yes.
Like
there's something
that
I want to know.
I don't think it's a coincidence. Like a lot of like LGBTQ music and artists are so great at that because all the shit you got to go through, and then like how you have to almost like will the joy in your life and find it because the world is trying to keep you from having it. And I know it's a lot of marginalized music is like that. I'm not saying, but yeah, so it's not a coincidence. That's a bop. And then the other thing is like I agree with everything you're saying, especially the part about parents and the narcissism of them to think you owe your life to them forever. Like,
yes.
Like, listen, and I get it. You saw me shit my pants. You think I'm a helpless person that can't do anything. But at some point, you have to accept that I'm an adult. I have my autonomy. I became who I became. And you're either in my life or out, but you can't constantly be judging every fucking thing I do.
Right.
In a pass-fail type of way. Like, your job is essentially to be a fullback in the offense. I didn't ask to be here. So the fullback in a NFL or college is the person that blocks the way so that the running back gets the ball and is able to like easier move down the field. That's your job. You take out the obstacles. You help the person get the ball down the field further than you can. That's all you're supposed to do. But a lot of these motherfuckers are like, wait, you're gay? I didn't see that for you. So now I'm going to harshly judge you and make your life hell for something that has nothing to do with me. So I think that sucks. And, you know, but yeah, but that's one of the reasons that, I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know what I know Mr. Show is definitely one of the things that put me on to the existence of these camps, but it always felt like something out of a fucking science fiction novel. Like, we're gonna deprogram you from being gay. It just, and I'm sure it's something to do with just my natural state of being an empath, but it always felt wrong to me even before I had the words to know why that was so wrong. I think also because I don't think I ever really believed in like the religion. I don't think I ever did. Even when I was forced to go to church, because you know, if your mama going to church, you a kid, you going to church.
You ain't got no option.
So, but I never looked forward to church. I never was like, big day at church today. I didn't care about the people there. I didn't want to make community with the people there. It wasn't my thing in that way. I'm not knocking people who it was, because as I got older, I realized a lot of church is about community for people.
Right.
And it's not necessarily about the belief system, but the problem is once you tie the belief system to the community, you now have a community where if you don't share the beliefs, you out of the system.
Right.
And so if one of the beliefs is at this church, we don't think gay people should get married, be happy, live their life. Well, now if I'm a person that does believe that, I'm out of the community. Doesn't matter if I'm gay or not. I'm out of the community. If you're a gay person that just behaves like a gay person, you out of the community, you know? And it's that kind of thing that made me kind of withdraw from it. It just wasn't, I didn't find freedom there in the way a lot of people do. But all that stuff to say, like, the natural empathy of I had as a kid, I think would just kind of come out, and I'd be like thinking to myself, like, if this is just the way a person is, like, I don't think this person is putting on an act being gay. I think they are gay.
Right.
I think they want to be with a person of the same gender or same sex in the way that I want to be with a person of the quote unquote opposite sex. Why would God make them like that and then be like, we should stop them or whatever? It just felt weird to me. And a lot of stuff in religion felt that way to me. And so I think I never got to the point where I believed that we should be ostracizing and penalizing people for stuff. So a conversion camp doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know how deep you have to be in the rabbit hole for that to make sense. But once again, I think your God is as progressive as you are. And so If you are a Christian that believes that is some bullshit, you go find you a church that they believe that's some bullshit, and y'all can fellowship together. Because to me, that's what's really happening is people are finding communities where they align on views and then calling it church, and that's fine with me. But a lot of people's views are really fucked up, and that's the scary part, you know. Kiana Wright saying Rod slavery show would be called American's Next Top Nigger. Hard ER. Killer Mike and Ye can do the theme song. It's very much giving Bamboozle by Spike Lee. I'ma stream it though.
I'm gonna stream it though.
Here I come, Tubi.
That's probably where it end up being.
Ashaya writes in, hey Rod and Karen, thanks for the card. Just want to say thanks for the holiday card. It made my day this past Thursday. You all rock and are truly amazing hosts, creators, and entrepreneurs. May you all continue to have many blessed opportunities. Anyway, I'm looking forward to streaming your live show in September. Take care. And yeah, so if you signed up for our holiday card last year, before I went to New York, you got a little surprise in the mail.
Yes, you did.
It was our holiday card, but you got it in the beginning of August, end of July, because that was when I had time to really do it.
We've been going, y'all.
And I think the card says something to the effect of like, happy holidays
in the front, yeah.
And on the back it says, the last year has been a whirlwind. Rod wrote for a TV show. Karen became an official New Yorker. And in the mix, we didn't have time to send out our holiday cards until now. So thank you for your patience. You are the world's best fans. And I stuck a couple stickers in there. Now, one sticker is old school, us with the chibi heads at the desk. I love that logo. The other one is our Attack on Titan one, but because of the way that the logo is, it just say the black guy because they couldn't make the print small enough to do who tips. And I said, you know what? I would have thrown these away, but fuck it. Y'all have them. It's funny to me.
Yes.
The black guy.
The black guy. In the anime.
Nobody knows what you're talking about but you and wherever you stick this sticker. So.
That's hilarious.
Let's go to the next one. DJ Jaffa says, hey Rod and Karen, hope you're both doing well. I love the Doing It for the Gram segment of the show. So I've recently started making beats again. I thought I'd have a go at a theme song. Hope you like it. Big love as always, DJ Jaffa. P.S. I'll send some more beats to use on the show real soon. Well, you know we love some beats for the show.
Yay, we do. Thank you, baby.
Okay.
We like beats.
We love the beats for the show.
We mix them up.
So send them in. If you got theme songs, like as much as we love our theme songs for each segment, hey, we're not above using more than one theme song for stuff. I actually love the variety when we have like 3 or 4 fucking with black people songs, 3 or 4 LGBTQ music songs. Like I love that stuff. So send it in. We're always looking for segments. And we'll highlight you and we'll talk about it and stuff. We appreciate that.
We do. We have some very talented fans.
Yeah. So here's Doing It for the Gram from DJ Jaffa. For the gram, 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 for the gram. I like it.
I like that.
I like it. We can use that. The only note I have, if you can make it shorter, like 15 seconds, would be even better. Because it could just like a short like drop, and then we going into the segment. So not to give you extra work, but if you feel like doing that, let me know. But yeah, I love that. That's dope, and we love segment music. Send in more, everybody. We love to even just play it on the show and evaluate it. Yeah. And we'll always use people's beats and stuff too for transitions. That was actually a thing. It took a long time to figure out how to work that into the show because people would send us beats, and I'm like, we're not a hip hop show. We're not really reviewing beats. We're not going to rap over them. So at this point, it's like we just have your beats, and it's like cool that you sent them. And then it was like, oh wait, segment transitions. So now we got beats that we can play on the show.
Yay!
All right, Miss Crispo writes in. Okay. Before the thoughts leave my head, let me get them out right quick. One, I bet someone said they were rolling down the river at the Montgomery Sweet Tea Party, right? Let me get my Karen on and please give me the sound clip for this pun I got fresh out the oven. Evander Holyfield. That's a good one. I have heard that one a few times. I don't know what music you're talking about. I'm guessing.
That's what I'm assuming.
That's no. Yeah, I think that might be it. Hold on, wait, more loading. George Forearms. Forearms. What
George Foreman?
I know, but what does forearms have to do with the?
I don't know.
With the? Okay, well they can't all be. It's hard. It's hard. Okay.
I don't know.
Muhammad Al-G. I like that one.
I like the algae.
Jack John Swim. That's a stretch, but I like it. Take that last one now. Thank you. Cue the music. I already played the music. You get one time. Okay. The rest of these was. Two. Y'all was saying something about having a nasty church girl rapper. Duh, we got that already. That chick, Angel Lakita Moore Tanksley from the podcast of Kev on Stage. That's a good point. She did make One Margarita.
Mm-hmm. That's my jam.
Yeah. She just got Flo Millie, Sexy Red, and some other young rapper girl on her Margarita remix that dropped like today, I think.
Wow.
YouTube suggested that to me. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it after the show. But yeah, I've been enjoying the One Margarita thing. And, we both listen to Here's the Thing. So Angel is such a funny person. And she always cracks me up, and I love seeing that One Margarita song take off. It's been like, it was hilarious, the freestyle on the show, and then watching all these people make like reels on Instagram and Facebook using it.
Yeah,
so fucking funny. And then her making the video and having Cindy Crawford in it and stuff. It's really been fun to watch. And I just like the whole direction that Here's the Thing is taking. It's fun. So she booty bumped Cindy Crawford and everything. Please, next time Kev come on the podcast, please have him bring on Angel. That will be some masterful Black Southern Auntie Kiki in between Angel and Karen. Direct that goodness straight into my veins. Rod and Kev will lose control over the show, and I'll be getting my life joining the convo in my head like, that would be the perfect fades given gift. Please, thank you, love you, more, Miss Cristal. I'll definitely try to get Angel on the show, for sure. I've thought about that in the past. So next time I reach out to Kev, I'll ask about if he can bring Angel, or if Angel is, give us her contact information. We'll try to arrange it so everyone's on at the same time, or even if we have Angel on just with us, right, all of that will be fine. I think she's just she's so funny.
Yes, she is. She's hilarious.
Feedback show. Lastly, Amon says, hope this makes it. Hi, Rod and Karen. I hope y'all had a wonderful time at the Beyonce concert. It looked like Karen had a ball. I said I was going to write in, here it goes real quick, because I just saw the email about the live feed. I just want to tell all your listeners in Montgomery, AL, I know me and my husband can't be the only ones, to go out and vote August 22nd, 2023. We're voting for mayor and city council. It's important. Some of my friends said they had totally forgotten about it, and that's what they count on. Love y'all, Amon.
Agreed. Yes. That's what they count on. Them off-cycle elections, like not trying to fund it. Most people go every 4 years, the average person, and they only go when they vote for president. They don't consider you vote for shit outside of every 4 years. You vote for senators, congressmen, you vote for mayors, like you vote for a school board, like it's judges in certain municipalities. Like you vote for shit really every year. Like sometimes there are several small elections throughout the year that are outside of that November.
Yeah, somebody on Twitter was saying they were looking at what Ron DeSantis is doing, where he's literally taking people out of their positions in office, and like people that were elected in, and they're very frustrated. Like, how come it seems like Republicans can just do what they want and Democrats can't? And the answer is because Republicans don't stop voting ever.
Nope.
They vote in off-cycle elections more than us.
Yes, they do.
And when they get a chance to get power, they seize it. And once they don't do it right away. This is the difference between them. What is happening is, and I'm not knocking this one particular person, but in general, what is happening is y'all aren't paying attention most of the time.
Right.
Except for every 4 years for president. What they're doing is seeding the ground for the last 30 to 40 years minimum.
Right.
Some of them even longer than that, since the Voting Rights Act passed.
Yes.
So they've been since since Roe v. Wade and since the Voting Rights Act and stuff, they've been saying, how do we take this government back? Because our weakness of our federal government is that it's essentially like ruling 50 different countries, and each state gets treated like its own country.
Right.
So what they're saying is, if we run the school board, the dog catcher, the mayor, the county commissioner, if we run all that stuff, the stuff that Democrats, it's not sexy. Democrats don't vote for that unless it happens to coincide with the presidential election. They won't come out for that.
Right.
If we run everything from the ground, we can decide who gets to vote. Mm-hmm. We can decide where you vote. We can decide what you need to have the vote, like an ID. We can decide what time you vote.
Right. We
can decide what days you vote. And once they start being able to target us, because it's easier to target a coalition of people that needs everyone than to target a wide swath of a demographic. People say, why can't Democrats do certain things like this? One of the reasons is, who are we going to disenfranchise? There is no section of just like, we only gonna get the old white people or whatever. Like we don't have laws and stuff we can pass like that to be like, if white people over 65 can't vote. But it's easy to target black people when you just don't target directly at black. You go, well, the people that live in this area, we notice they take more public transportation. We'll say that you can't vote outside the hours of. We'll say the voting starts outside the hours of when public transportation starts. Mm-hmm. So now people don't have a way to get there. Oh, we know these people use public transportation, so they probably don't have a license. We'll demand you have a license. You have a form of ID. And it's just an extra step. But if we can just convince a few of them to not do it, make it untenable for a couple of them, we've done our job. Oh, we'll make it hard to help people. You want to bring them water? Nah, ain't no water, no snacks, and standing in a long line. We'll make sure you don't have a long polling place. And so they do these machinations every day, all day, every year. And then we come in once every 4 years wanting to feel like heroes and being like, why this ain't fixed yet? And we blame the politicians and shit because we don't want to take any personal responsibilities. And we definitely don't want to blame our fellow man. Right? To me, that's the realization I've had over the last 3 or 4 years that I can't shake. And maybe it'll change as I get older and I'll feel differently again. But I, honest to God, feel like politicians exist so that we don't look at our fellow Americans as the enemy. So we can say the reason this isn't happening is because blank politician doesn't want it to happen. Because what happens if I actually let it sink in and go, the reason this thing isn't, the reason women aren't able to get an abortion after 12 weeks in North Carolina anymore? It's not because of the politician that changed her affiliation. Mm-hmm. It's not because the Democrats didn't do blank. It's not really even because the Republicans did blankety blank. It's because 50-something% of the people in my fucking state and the majority of white people and majority of white women wanted this. Yep. And so when I run into one of you just in normal everyday life, I could be talking to the person that epitomizes everything I'm against, that doesn't want my black ass to vote, that doesn't want women to be able to have the right to choose, that don't want trans kids to grow up in a safe world. I'm looking at them. When I go to the checkout at the grocery store, they might be checking me out. When I go to they might be my waiter. They might be the person fixing my fucking car. But if I'm allowed to transfer the disgust I feel onto like a politician instead, then I can like coexist in the society with these people that fucking hate me. If I can ignore and roll my eyes at Fox News being on in the auto body shop and go, oh, these fucking Republicans. But really, that motherfucker right there is like, I don't think
right. It's a big ass bait and switch. And it's one of those things. Once you come to the realization that the problems is the motherfuckers that don't vote, and you be like, bitch, vote. My feelings, I don't give a goddamn about your feelings. Your feelings. Okay, well then do something with them motherfucking feelings you got. You go, my feelings hurt. Well then, bitch, take them feelings, them pent up feelings, take your ass to the poll and goddamn vote. Just don't say my motherfucking feelings and don't do shit.
Yeah, and like, I wasn't even saying it necessarily about those people too, but yeah, You're right.
I got the right to be mad at you. I got the right to say, fuck you. You part of the problem too.
Right. And so if I can transmute those emotions onto a politician, I can still be in community with these, like the rapper No Name. I can be in community with a person like No Name and act like she's not the problem, because I'm like, no, the real problem is Obama. And it's not that someone like No Name is saying I'm not gonna vote anymore, but I'm still gonna pretend to be on the side of right and good and won't change. So when the Republicans take over or the Republicans pass something, I'm supposed to only blame that Republican politician, maybe the Republican voters, but not No Name. You see what I'm saying? And I'm just saying No Name because I just listened to her album and she was still kind of on that stuff. But my point being, like, if we're being honest, I'm mad at you too. And if you think you're mad at me like you got the only feelings that count, wrong. I got feelings too. And from my math, you're the one that's not helping and not being helpful. And so it's never, my point being, because I don't want to turn this into this. I really didn't want to. I'm ready to wrap up. We have shit to do. But my point being, it's never Republicans just do what they want to do.
Right.
It's never that. They put in the groundwork to then it's like they hold up their hand for the signal and say, wait, don't do anything yet. We haven't got school board yet. Okay, we got school board? Cool. Don't do anything yet, because the Democrats can go to the county commission and the county commission can overturn the school board. So don't wait till we get that. Okay, we got that. Don't do anything yet. Okay, we got to get the judges, because if we get the local judges, they'll rule on our side. But if we don't get the judges, blah, blah, and then finally, when they have all the dominoes in place, they help put their hand down and they flip that domino, and then you see
a
change
of shit.
Change that seems like it's happening overnight that are 40 years worth of change. Florida probably started this shit after Al Gore, George Bush, and the hanging chads.
Yes.
They said never fucking again. Never fucking again, dog. It's never gonna be this close again. We're going to rig this shit from the bottom to the top. And what you think is Ron DeSantis coming into office and doing what he wants is actually Republicans working on the ground ever since whatever election that was, whether that's like 2000, 2004. You're seeing the results of generational work. And we scoff at generational work. We scoff at generations. We scoff at old people. We think it should just only be young people making all the decisions, doing whatever they want. And the young people be the least likely to fucking get out and vote in a lot of cases.
Right.
So we act like we can't be a unit. And because of that, we get these results. All right. That's it for this episode. We'll try to talk about Beyonce at some point this week. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether we'll have to do a special show or something, because like I said, it feels weird to make Chris's show about Beyonce.
Right. We want to, talk about him and do things with him.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll figure something out. Mm-hmm. But until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Have a good one. Peace.